Right, I'm gonna try out ordering from Artisaire Studio. I am doing this for the first time. They just launched yesterday, and at the end of this video, I'm going to do the unboxing and show you what it looks like and compare it with some other print shops as well. So I will be 100% honest, like I come into this with a little bit of skepticism, mostly just because they are brand new to printing and a lot of the images that we've seen have only been printed with this specific design. Some of them are mock-ups. So I think I want to see more from them, and I would like to see some samples of other people's actual work on here. But I am very intrigued, and I hope that the quality is really good because I think it'd be a great option if you're also doing wax seals a lot. If you're in Canada, I know people in Canada have been waiting for an awesome printer for a while. So I am excited about it, but I come at it with a little bit of, we just need to try it out and see. And so that's what I'm doing for y'all today. You can use on your first order. So use the link in the description to do that. To be fair, that is an affiliate link. But I'm going to be fully honest throughout this video, and at the end you'll see the actual products and what the quality of them looks like. So I just made an account. I haven't really explored this very much, so let's check it out. So we have invitations, place settings, some business stationery. Okay, and I was curious if I needed to make an account or have a wholesale account or whatever. So in this help and FAQs, they did mention that an account is not required. And I think all the pricing seems to be the same whether you have an account or not. So this is all like already their wholesale pricing. So I'm just going to go into explore invitations because that's what I always order. And I love that they're using Superfine. Mohawk Superfine is my favorite paper to use. So I'm glad that that is kind of their standard. I'm curious what their colored offerings are going to be too. So I'm just going to go with cards for this one. Okay. So we have 4-bar, A1, A2, A6, A7, and then 5x5 square. That all makes sense. And this is 17.5 point Mohawk Superfine Eggshell Ultra White. So it doesn't look like they have other colors at this point, just the Superfine Ultra White, which to be fair is my favorite paper. And it does look like that's the 128 pound if you're in the US and used to that sizing. So I'm going to just choose a file that I already have printed from another printer just so that I can compare that because I have seen this printed out. It's lots of color, it's watercolor, it's got some text, so we're going to see what their capabilities look like. I don't need to make any notes. My files are print ready, so we can skip the proof. And then pricing for 10 is pretty significant in my opinion, but it's nice that you can order 10. And then when you get down to like 100, so they're 62 cents each, that is, PrintsWell is like 43, 45 cents each for a 5x7. So it's not bad pricing overall. The pricing for 10 is a little much in my opinion, but like I understand they have to do setup and small orders can be kind of annoying. So we'll add that to the cart. Luckily we have a discount during this first week. And then I want to try the white ink as well. So how do I find that? We'll go back to invitations. Oh, white ink. Okay. So we'll do white ink here. And okay, let's see. Amazon. It doesn't have that information about where these are from. What are these colors? I think they're Lesabo colors. I think they're Lesabo colors, which is nice. And you can see how the white ink is going to look on all of them. Lesabo is very similar to Color Plan. If you haven't seen it, it's been increasing in popularity since Kia Color died. So let's just do the navy because it's pretty. We'll do a 5x7 and I get a file for this white ink. I did look at their file specs, and And the main thing, you can download these templates here, and then artwork guidelines, which is nice. So for white ink, we just set everything up as 100% magenta. So I did look at that in the meantime. And you can do file setup for $25, which is kind of nice if for like retail folks, if you want to work for retail people. Again, let's see, pricing for 100 is 87 cents. Honestly, not bad for a white ink card. A lot for 10, but that's okay. And we don't need to do a proof here. Another thing that I've looked at is like their bleeds. So they do the 1/8 inch bleed. If you need information on that, I have so many videos on file setup that you can watch. But for stationers, this is pretty standard. We'll add that to cart. And then I'm going to look into envelopes here. And so I found out you can go up here to find the options a little bit easier. So we'll do envelopes. I'm going to do both options. What color should we do? Let's do this. I don't know, lagoon's pretty, but also moss. Let's do moss. It's really pretty. And you can see what that will look like. That's really lovely. The only option is the Euro flap here for the white ink. And I'm going to order 10. I did download their template, so they do print the envelopes open flap, it looks like. And that's really great. I like that they do that because you could do an over the flap design. I mean, they say not to, but I'm sure you could do it anyway, as long as you understand what the crease will do to that. I don't see any information about, okay, it does confirm less about. I don't see any information about them being able to do variable data. So that's kind of interesting. And then they have their delivery and stuff here. So 6 to 11 business days. Honestly, not too bad knowing that it's coming from Canada. That 6 day would not be an issue at all. I'm going to see, today's the 13th. I'm going to see how it actually ships and gets to us. Okay, so I'm not sure if we can do variable data, but my assumption is going to be yes, because why would we have envelope printing without variable data? So I'm going to upload a 10-page file. White ink envelopes, and I have that set up 100% magenta. Return addresses. This is not like my favorite way to set up addresses, but I feel like it gives you an additional capability that they print open flap, and then you don't have to pay extra for return address and guest address. So actually it's probably beneficial, even though I don't like setting up the files that way, but it's probably a good thing overall. So we'll give them credit for that. All right, so for 10, these are $2.29 each. Honestly, cheaper than the cards, which is interesting to me. Cheaper than even the, I think cheaper than cheaper than just the flat printed white CMYK ink cards, which is really interesting. So you can get white ink on envelopes for cheaper than that. And then that's 85 cents each. So at a quantity of 100, it's more expensive than the CMYK ink on white, but it is less expensive. It's like 2 cents less expensive than the white ink on the cards. So I do find that kind of interesting, pricing wise, but good. I love a cheap white ink printed envelope. That's great for me. Okay. So at 10, these guys are quite a bit more expensive, but at 100, they're only like 2 cents more. Okay. And then we'll do the superfine envelopes. I don't love the superfine white envelopes. They're fine, but I don't like white envelopes to begin with. And I like they have the Euro flap and the square flap. I am going to use the Euro flap. I would love to see them add envelope liners in the future, but I'm not sure if they're going to do that. And I set up this file and just added some, I don't know, mid-century mod kind of Palm Springs elements to it, just to check a few different colors on the envelopes. It's not giving me an error for the 10 for the variable data, so I'm assuming that is fine. Cool. We're going to see, okay, pricing is less than the colored envelopes, less than both of the card printing. So envelope printing is going to be cheaper than card printing here, which is nice. 75 cents. So this is more expensive at 100 than the card printing. Possibly, most likely because the cards just have to be cut down and the envelopes don't. So that probably divides out better when it gets to 100. So, overall, I think the pricing for larger orders is really not bad. Some of the smaller order pricing is not so bad. The envelope pricing in general is great, honestly. For the envelope plus the addressing is honestly pretty good, and especially if you can do the guest and return address together. Some of that pricing is going to be really, really great. Like when we get into like 175 cents for having both of those printed, full color, the envelope included as well. It's honestly pretty good. Okay, and I think I have done my files are print ready. Please skip my proof. I would hope that kind of qualifies for the full order, or maybe there's a way to get that to qualify for the full order instead of having you check it every time. But because I don't want to add any additional time to the order if I don't have to. Okay, so here's my cart. I do feel like this is pretty expensive for samples. I'm glad that they are doing that grand opening discount. That will help a lot. As an example, like PrintsWell, when you order 10, they're 55 cents each. So I think they just have some slightly different setups here. And this pricing gets a lot closer to PrintsWell's when you get up higher in quantity. So I think the pricing is, there are some good and some less good things about it. Like if I were only ordering 10 of something, I probably wouldn't choose the service. But when it gets up to 100, etc., I think the envelope pricing is really good. I like that you don't have to pay for return address and guest address. You do have to do that with PrintsWell. I like that some of you might find it easier to set up the files all in one instead of two different files. I like that you can print over the flaps. I think that's great. I think of the things that they could offer if they were offering only one paper, like super fine eggshell ultra white, is what I would have them offer. So I like that. I think with the white ink, they have chosen some good colors and this paper is good quality. So I'm excited to see how everything plays out. I think they're because they have not that many different products at this point, I think the ordering system makes a lot of sense. There's a few things I'm not seeing, like envelope liners that I would like to. I do like that they have the belly bands. That's nice, and the folded cards, and they have all the sizes that you really would need. I like that they have the colored envelopes with white ink. I think that's a really kind of well-rounded option for them to start out with, and hopefully they'll start to add some more products as they get more familiar. I don't see anything about like printing on the back of the card, so that's something that I'm not seeing. I'm going to do a little research right now and see if I can find that info. Okay, I honestly haven't found anything about printing on the back. I assume it's not something that's offered right now, but I did find this variable print setup, so that makes me think that they do offer variable printing. And the main thing is outlining files, and then also you have to save this one as a PDF file format for variable print. So that's what I always do anyway, probably what you do too. All right, I'm just going to process my order, and for these 48 pieces, it is still going to be $82 even after the 20% discount. So again, I don't think I think ordering samples of something that you need samples of, this isn't a terrible price to pay. Ordering 10 pieces for someone, you might be able to find that a little bit cheaper some other places, but once you get into the larger quantities, the pricing is really pretty reasonable. So I think some give and takes here, and as always, we need to figure out what this print shop is going to excel at and be best at, and which orders they're going to be ideal to be placed here. So excited to order these. I'll come back in a second. When they arrive, I'll let you know how long it took and show you them compared to some other prints from other places. Hi everyone, my order from Artisaire Studio is here, and I'm super excited to unbox it with you. Before I dive in, I wanted to just mention two things. First of all, I wanted to correct that you can't do double-sided printing. I did speak to them, and you just have to upload it as one document with 2 pages, but you can do double-sided printing on the cards. And secondly, they have decided to extend a 20% discount to you guys. So if you use code Blaney, that's going to be active for 90 days. So October 1st through December 31st. So if you're seeing this before the end of the year, you can use code Blaney for 20% off. Let's unbox this baby. All right, so the box looks exactly like OX Steel's Artisaire box. Exactly the same. You know they have good shipping.
it got here pretty quickly. I asked them to actually wait because I was out of town, but it shipped in about 3 days, which is pretty good for me. I'm in Colorado. And lovely. This just reminds me of ordering wax seals, which I mean that as a compliment because it's always a good experience ordering wax seals. So we've got a little note. Great. And then we have our pieces. Okay, I actually love how they've packaged all of this. So you can kind of see what everything is. I think this is better packaging environmentally than like the cello bags. I do like the cello bags because they're waterproof. But I think that this is overall like really nice packaging and very similar to what I've gotten from some other printers. So let's see. I'm gonna grab my other versions of this from PrintsWell just so we can compare. Okay, first reactions from all of this. It looks really nice. This is well done. I just recently did a review of these Lesbo colors, and on my printer they did not pass the rub test 100%. So let's just going and going and going. Let's see. Okay, I notice no difference there, so that's really good. With white ink, I think their white ink printing is going to be a little bit game changing. And I think as far as printers that have great digital options, they do have these nice colors that they can print the white ink on, which is very unique among that, and making that really easy for us is unique. So I do like that. These look great. I'll unwrap one in a sec and just make sure everything looks good. These are our save the dates. One thing I'm noticing is kind of the edges look a little bit cut off, and I wonder, I'm gonna go back and confirm that I did upload this with bleeds, but I am 98% sure. So let's unwrap and see if that's something that happens on all of the pieces. Okay, this is really nice. I do like how this is packaged. Let's see. I almost feel like this is something with the cutting because it feels like it affects those top pieces. Can you see what I'm talking about here? Just a little bit of like white on the edge there, but it does not affect the bottom pieces like at all. But I have a little bit of it up on these top two and the one that was on the top here. So I almost feel like this is something when it is cut down. I do feel like they sent 10. They did send 13 when I ordered 10. So potentially that's something that they're doing because they accept that that is happening. Now comparing this print to, okay, this one is from Artisaire Studio and this one is from PrintsWell. And I feel like, you know, the colors are a tad different. We're getting a little bit more warmth here and a little cooler tone on the Artisaire one. It honestly maybe looks nicer in the green. I mean, it depends. Nice is relative. I don't think this is in any way like an issue or something that would make me not order with them by any means. I'm just comparing. And you know, with digital printing, sometimes the colors will be different anyway. So I could get a different color even on PrintsWell depending on the day. So really depends. But I think the printing quality in general is quite good. It's not that kind of ink coverage where you feel like it's on top of the paper. You do feel like it's really sunk into the paper in the same way that you get with like your PrintsWell prints, etc. Yeah, overall I would say very good print quality. My only concern would be that little edge here which might be due to the cutting process more than anything, because I don't feel like I see it on these other ones. And they did send some extra, so let's see if they did that on here too. Also, all this feedback I'm going to be sending to them as well, so it's very possible that they will fix this in future. But let's see, we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, they sent 13 here as well. So if that's going to be their standard to send a few extra, then that's never going to be an issue. But I also don't ever like to count on that on the off chance that they decide not to send those extra. But these look beautiful. This white ink printing was pretty well priced, especially after you get outside of the sample quantity, and you can use 20% off with code Lainey. So let's see our envelopes. So I did variable data with these. I just uploaded one PDF. We printed them flap open, and I used their template. And let's see what we did here. So I'm kind of curious if this first one is, yeah, okay. So this first one is kind of an extra one, so maybe that's because they know about that cutting issue, who knows. So we got that. And then let's see. This looks really nice. I'm gonna do another rub test. Yeah, no difference in that. And then we have the return address. Looks beautiful. All of these look really great. 10 out of 10. And let's see on here. I feel like overall to me, I'm pretty impressed with all of this. I think I would question that cutting issue. And then with their pricing, it's just going to be tough on those smaller orders. And if you're ordering like 10 at a time, perhaps that will change in future, or you can use that 20% discount. But for larger orders, it's definitely similar pricing, if a little bit more, but nothing too crazy, from like PrintsWell, which is one of the cheapest in the industry. Also, I think their whiting pricing is really good, and the options for printing on colored cardstock is something that a lot of those like standard printers where you can just upload and go don't have. So I love that. One thing on pricing is that they don't have an order fee. So PrintsWell does have a $2 order fee. I found their shipping to be cheaper than PrintsWell, although it did take a little bit longer for me. It is coming from Canada, but it could be cheaper depending on where you're at. If you're in Canada especially, it's probably a good option. And you can print these open flap. So you could do some kind of design on here that goes over the flap, just understanding that that crease could be an issue. And if you don't have to pay for these separately, which you do with a company like PrintsWell or a lot of companies that print closed flapped, that could actually be a big price differentiator. So I haven't done exactly the math, but I think that could be a really good thing to consider there. So let's see. So these look really good. I feel like they're a tad speckledy, kind of like how letterpress ink prints, and I can go back and check the file. That might be something that's my file, but it also just might be flood printing on an envelope, and as we know, flood printing is not always going to be the best option. This looks really cool though. It fits with the vibe a lot. It almost looks like they're letterpressed. I like these. I want to use these envelopes. This looks really great though. Let's see. Yeah, overall really good. So I think the quality of the printing is overall really good. I must have not centered this one. Whoops, guys. The quality of the printing is really good. I think it's going to be nice to order things with the white ink printing. I think it's going to be nice to order with their wax seals. If you're ordering something that already has wax seals included and want to add on your prints and get everything from the same place, I think that's going to be an awesome option. And I'm really excited about this option for Canadian folks for white ink printing, and I'm curious to see where it goes. You know, I'm not 100% sure that they have every single little detail of their website and their process figured out yet. For instance, when I was showing you about like the double-sided, and then it turns out they do offer that, but it wasn't really mention on their website exactly. I think those are some things that they're going to figure out over the coming weeks. And I'm curious to know if you are going to try them out, what you think. I can't pick these up for some reason. What you think of everything. And if you have any questions, I would love to answer them about this order or the ordering process in general, or I can pass along any feedback to them that you like. But you can always use code LANEY if you want to try them out for that 20% off. That will go until December 31st. Thanks for coming along on this test drive with me. Let me know what you think, if you're going to try them out, what questions you have, and anything else you'd like me to test out and review for you. I'd be happy to do so because I love testing out new stuff in the stationery world. While you're here, watch some of our other videos and comment to let me know what you thought. Thanks, everybody.